Click, take one. If you're missing left or you're missing right, this bad boy can actually help you. You need to check your lie angles. If you keep missing left, it might not be you. You might not have to work on some funky moves to improve it. It could simply be the lie angle and the relationship this has with this. Absolute crucial video for you here today. Brand new golf clubs. You saw my what's in the bag. Today I'm going to talk about getting the right lie angle and how crucial it is to your game and how it can help you on individual clubs. This is what we do out on the tour for the best players in the world. We would check Jason Day, Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, Jon Rahm, you name them, we would literally check them almost every single week before they go and play massive tournaments. Quick story as we get into this, US Open, Erin Hills, Xander Schauffele burst onto the scene that week. I can tell you, we were going through individual irons, Loft and Lies on that tour truck before he went out and ripped up Erin Hills and became the household name that you guys all know. This video is extremely important for your game. It's extremely important you get close to your clubs and you understand what's going on. You might be out there working with a golf coach to try and fix something and you're completely wasting your time. Normal warm-up session going on. You've got your brand new golf clubs. They're there in front of you. Look, I've been doing this for 20 years on tour trucks and I still go through this each time I get them. When it comes to a classic fitting, we will look at divot depth. These have all been short irons. It looks pretty good. You can see that heel to toe, which is toe of the golf club out here, heel of the golf club out here, they're marking relatively well. Now, let's talk about my swing journey. This is just bespoke to me. I've talked to you before about this. The club wants to fall vertical. That is where all the weight is. It wants to go this way. One of the things that I am working on at the moment is to try and stay in my posture. So many of us as golfers will stand up, it's called early extend, and you bring the right side of the golf course into play. TaylorMade and every other manufacturer are aware of this. The great engineers across there, they will calculate and make different sets of golf clubs. So if you go into the QI10 irons, they're going to be very upright in lie angle, which means the toe of this golf club is going to sit closer to your nose. What is deemed as standard lie angle, which I cannot stand, has moved over time. And it means that when you go for your fitting at a location and it has a 6 or a 7 iron that you work off, for today's example, we're going to go with a 6. I think that's the pivot point of the set. This lie angle, if we go off standard, is 61. That means the angle between the center of the blade and the shaft is going to be a 61 lie angle. How you return the club to that then gets it going through the turf in the right manner. If you go flatter, then it means you might either be shorter. Yes, guess what? Thanks for all the comments on there. I am only about 5'7", so yes, I need slightly shorter. It means you're extremely efficient at golf. Think Ben Hogan, Tommy Fleetwood. They come through the golf ball, stay in their side bend, stays out the way, and they can return a very neutral face where they hold it. If you look at Tommy Fleetwood, he holds the face through impact. It is amazing to watch and the sound is phenomenal. Or you get some of us who are taller and then you might need golf clubs that are more upright, or as I was and have been in, you get the golfer that will back up, hands will go high, early extend. Guess what? That lie angle, to give you the best chance of hitting it straight, needs to be more upright to work out for that golfer. So juniors out there, clubs are heavy, they want to fall this way, they can't go as flat as someone who can have the strength to hold the positions through here. You hear all these golf coaches talking about steep into the golf ball, coming down through the shoulder, the club being more vertical and steep. Guess what? From there, you have to back up and go this way, which then means you need more upright clubs. So if you're buying standard generic clubs, they tend to be more upright. Everything works off of the 6 iron. That's where we're going for my video. So 61 on that would be standard. You'd then work in flatter going this way. So I've got a 5 iron, that'd be 60. Now the 4 iron would probably stay on a standard set of golf clubs in the more upright case. So that might stay 60-degree lie angle as well. Reason being is because the longer the club, the more likely you are to go this way, which then can bring in right. So TaylorMade and other companies didn't continue to go flatter. But on tour, you'd get the 4 iron and the 3 iron going flatter again. As you move towards the wedges, when you get into the 9 iron, it's going to be the same lie angle in some sets, definitely as the pitching wedge, and then your gap wedges, and then into your lob wedge. So when it comes to this set, and what I'm checking today is 1 on an old school lie board, do these clubs mark the way I want them? And 2, can I adjust the top end of the bag in the 4 and the 3 iron if you carry one? And can I or should I adjust the bottom of the bag in the pitching wedge? Coming to the lie board, as we grab that here, always place it in where the divots are so that it's going to sit a little lower. It's simply something that you don't want to be scared of. It's deemed as old school, really. You don't see many lie boards on tour. Usually you'd have some tape. It will mark. I'm covering the bottom of this golf club in Sharpie ink so that you guys can see it a bit better for illustration purposes. It will leave a little bit of a mark on here, but you just want to make a normal swing and strike the front part of the board. Don't put your fitters out there. Don't put people at the back. Strike the front of the board and just hit down and through it with a normal golf swing. So a normal move. That's fine, good balance. And you can see here that this marked for me between glove finger and finger, which is perfectly towards middle hair to the heel. If it was too much this way and we were marking the club towards the toe area, then you're going to lose it towards the right. And of course, if the lie angle was off and you're marking it too much towards the heel area, then the blade is going to whip over and move to the left. So you are looking for the clubs to mark, and you can see again there in that perfect section. When you come into behind the golf ball, and you will have seen this, I'm sure, in other videos, you want the toe to be slightly off the ground. You don't want them perfectly flat. You want it to be slightly off, because when we do get some force moving up, you're then going to strike in the correct area. There's your first checkpoint. You will have gone through that. That's a normal fitting, job done. There might not have been a lie board involved, but you're in the right place. But what I want to press you to do, when you go into the longer irons, can check if the lie angle is perfect here. So I can see that the toe part is slightly off the turf, set up to it, keeping my angles. Pretty good golf shot. Look down, mark there to mark there. So that's confirmation, and it's a slight mark, but the start of the mark is here and the end of the mark is here. And as I then draw on the face, that is the section that is hitting the turf. So again, if these were off, down here would cause the toe to go in, open, and up here would cause the heel to go in and close. If your lie angles are off, too upright or too flat, you're going to get those shots that can manipulate where it's going. Lie angles, you want to make where the golfer's trying to work towards. I've made these lie angles flatter, but it wasn't just a guess. I've told you this before, I do not guess anything in here. If you look at some clip data over the last 3 rounds I've played, not played great and then played good, 47% left on my approach play. 47% of the shots I was missing were left. Fast forward that 2 rounds on, and we can see in here that it's resulted in, it went to 33% first, and then another solid round of golf, 14% of approach play, once I adjusted this, was left with 0 missing right. So don't get me wrong, there's just some swing moves in there that have got the club a little bit what would be deemed as outside for the right-hander on the way down, but by adjusting the lie angle, now I'm living in a place where I'm no longer missing the ball consistently left when it's the club's fault. I can hang my hat on that it's mine. And then when it comes to working a wedge, look, if you're with some great fitters and they're confident that the turf is giving way correct as it should, and you're able to read off the divots, I like that too. But when it comes to the pitching wedge, try and have your players just work some of them softer golf shots. Same target. If anything that was there, that's a good marker. And then you could work a full shot if you wanted to, but also if someone is to pitch with their pitching wedge, as in hit a little chip shot, how do they set up to that? To just hit out there, and then that marks perfectly in the center. Key that you look at the top end of the bag and the bottom of the bag. Ideally, I actually still use one of these, and a lot of fitters out there on the tour would be like, wow, that's a training aid situation, that's a fitting 101. But the bottom line is, it's still a good checkpoint. If you're out there and you're not 100% that your numbers are bang on, you can use that in conjunction to reading the divots if you're fortunate enough to have a grass tee, but also notice how I put that into these divots so it would sit not too up on me and then I can get a true reading of what level is versus where my feet are standing. So there's a lot of information in there, all backed up by the data. Look at the top end and the bottom end of your clubs when it comes to your lie angles. Don't just assume that everything's going to be graded off that 6 and 7 and then perfectly catered for you, because you'll end up in a place, if you are someone who hits soft wedges, tries to take spin off, things we've talked about on this channel before, you might want to have a wedge that plays a little bit flatter maybe than that 9 iron, or as you get into your 52, 56 wedge that goes flatter again based on how you pitch and how you turn up. This is really knowing your game and really making sure that the individual irons totally marry up to what you need. You do not need a flight monitor, launch monitor for this. You can do it with a board, ball flight and divots. You've gone through a fitting at this point, you're just taking it one level further. If you like what you're seeing or you've got questions, of course, subscribe is there, or get in those comments. Let's deal with it and get it right. This is what the best players in the world are doing. Individual clubs are worked for their ball flight based on where they are any given week and also what they're working on with their teacher. Bring your teacher into the fitting. That's another crucial tip. If you can do that, you're going to be on your way to setting future goals and getting clubs that are working towards them.